Now, moving on, guys, to our Week 15 NFL recap. Who wants to talk about? I mean, we alluded to it earlier, but the Chargers finally fired Brandon Staley. Jaevon, I'll throw this one to you first. As the Raiders put up, 49 points in the first half. They ultimately beat the Chargers 63-21 on Thursday Night Football. And it should be mentioned that this same Raiders team put up a goose egg against Wes's Vikings the week prior. And then they put up 63 against the Chargers. So, Jaevon, just what was that game like from your perspective? And obviously the firing of Brandon Staley.
Trey Tucker. Let's put some respect on his name. He had I think he had 0 catches to this week prior, and then he came in and his first 2 catches were touchdowns.
Pretty good.
Whoever had Trey Tucker in fantasy, you gotta give it up to him. Nobody. He's probably getting picked up by everybody on all boards probably right before playoffs. But as far as do we got some breaking news here?
No, just Steelers news. Steelers news. It only applies to Garry.
Okay. I just think Aiden O'Connell kind of came out. There was a story that came out about Coach Pierce about how he coached a high school game and he put up 99 points in a high school game, and I was like, oh, that was just something that that they kind of put out before the game came out, and then all of a sudden for the Raiders to go on the run that they did and put up 63 points. Everybody was, even Richard Sherman. The crazy part about it is we were at Soap's dad's house, and I was saying they should kind of fire him at that time. This is something that it's getting down to the point where Easton sticks in, you're fumbling the ball every other possession. Feels like players are giving up, and then Richard Sherman comes out and goes viral and says they fire him at halftime. Then you just see a ball go. Sherman be listening to my takes, so shout out to Uncle Sherman. But this Raiders game, it was just the Raiders couldn't put up freaking 2 points against not even a measly old safety against the astronaut. Well, not the astronaut anymore. It's Josh Dobbs now. Or not Josh Dobbs. Nick Mullins.
Yeah, Mully. The guy who got mentioned in a conversation with Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. It was insane graphic.
Yeah.
Stupid. Can the Raiders still make the playoffs? I'm not sure. They gotta scratch and claw. I think they play the Chiefs somewhere in their schedule, so it's gonna be tough for them.
Yeah, in KC.
I don't want people to get, overly excited for putting up 63 points against a Justin Herbertless Chargers. I think that's where a lot of people we just put up 63 points.
Justin Herbert doesn't play defense though.
Yeah, that is true, but there's a lot going on over there in LA. They're trying to rebuild, rebrand, and we'll see where that takes them into the near future. Maybe Mike Tomlin might be a guy that might be.
Stop trying to take
trying to take his cup. But gotta give props to O'Connell and the boys.
Yeah, and Kevin, a lot in recent weeks, we've been talking about the emergence of Jake Browning from right up the road here in Sacramento at Folsom High School. And
they should have never cut me.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that because I would have. And so the Bengals, they get a win on Saturday. We had a triple header this week on Saturday, but the Bengals defeat the Vikings 27-24 in overtime. So what was that game like from your perspective, Kevin?
Hey, man, Jake Browning might be earning some money next year. This year, any year has shown that the backup quarterback has been very pivotal. And he's going out there doing this thing to go for 342 yards, 8 yards per pass, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. And when Jamar Chase went down, I said, there's no way in hell they win this game. No way in hell they win this game. But we all mentioned the group chat. And it was a trade of maybe, week 3 of the fantasy?
No. Week 1, we were sitting on this couch. We were sitting on this couch, and I thought that I pulled the ultimate finesse of all time.
It was Purdy for Higgins straight up. And
sorry to correct you. Purdy, it was Purdy and Drake London for Daniel Jones and T. Higgins. Vanilla Vic.
Height of the century.
I got robbed.
T. Higgins, four receptions for 61 yards and 2 touchdowns. And we also saw the crazy play of him being tackled at the 3 and just stretching. T. Higgins, we also talked about Jake Brown making some money next year. T. Higgins, they did not extend him on his contract, so he will be a free agent. So he can make him a lot of money next year. So that's going to be interesting to see. But
what week are we in, by the way?
15.
Finally showed up pretty good. That's 15 weeks.
Unfortunately, man.
I had one good week from him earlier this year, but yeah, it basically took 15 weeks.
15 weeks to pass on that. But is this the end of the Josh Dobbs Disney movie?
Damn. I told you, man. I literally tried to tell you he's going to turn into a freaking frog.
Yeah.
And it hurt me, man, to see that he wasn't only the second string quarterback, he was the third string quarterback. And for everybody on this couch besides Garry, Nick, when you hear Nick Mullins, it brings a bad vibration in the air. You see all the highlights, the memories of him being an Eagle, him being a Niner. But for him to go out there and throw 303 yards, really brought light to him. Maybe he can be a backup in this league for go for 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. But I think Ty Chandler really is going to beat out Madison for this running back job because he's come in and hasn't even really had the full run as Madison has. But for him to go for 23 carries for 132 yards, I put the Vikings. Wes is going to hate me for saying this. I put the Vikings in the same tier as the Falcons. They are a quarterback away. They have all the weapons. Jordan Addison, 6 catches for 111 yards. Are they going to sign him? We don't know. So for him to go for 2 touchdowns, Justin Jefferson getting back slowly, TJ Hawkinson, they are a quarterback away. If they can get a good quarterback and a young quarterback that can really build around this team, they have the young guy. They're drafting really well. Their defense is coming up shortly. But this offense it's just a quarterback away. We talk week in, week out about how Kyle Pitts is being wasted. Now we're thinking about Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. They have all the talent in the world. If they can get a consistent quarterback to come in there and do their thing, this team could be really good. But the NFC is packed with quarterbacks. And if you don't have a quarterback, it's going to be hard to win this.
Hey, Wes, I'm going to defend you, man. Y'all got y'all quarterback. Keep old Kurt, baby. Prime time Kurt, baby.
Got what 8
weeks off of torn Achilles, so you never know.
And for our audio only listeners right now, the meme that I just put up on the screen, this is how Wes is feeling, where he's laying back in his bed, looking at a photo of Kirk Cousins, and just thinking, man, what could have been? We miss him.
They were on a roll too. They beat us on Monday. They beat us on Monday night, and Kirk was playing at an all-time high, and then all of a sudden, kind of
good old Kirko. All right. Well, so Garry, now the second game of Saturday's triple header was the Steelers playing in Indianapolis against the Colts, and without the savior Kenny Pickett, the Steelers did ultimately lose in this game, as the Colts prevailed 30-13. And so, are your Steelers done? I mean, I joke about my friend Keith, who's a noted Steelers fan, and I talk about how he's probably the biggest roller coaster Steelers fan that I know. 2 weeks ago, he said the season is over. It's basketball season. Go Kings. But how are you feeling about the Steelers right now?
Thank God I didn't wear a jersey again this time this house. Last time I wore a jersey this house. I was like, let me not wear a jersey this house.
Garry came from head to toe in Steelers gear.
That was week 1, guys. That was week 1. Anyway.
down to the socks.
Oh, man. I'm looking at here, man. There's too many turn. Man, my Steelers have to play perfect for us to basically win. And during the beginning of the year, that's how we were getting all our W's. We were holding people to basically 0 points, 1 TD, barely even sometimes 2 TDs. And, now, like I've been mentioning for the last few weeks, so much pressure on the defense. And you throw some turnovers, and that's it. It's pretty much wrapped because we know when we get back the offensive ball, they're not going to score. Pretty much, we're not going to score. And even I seen them score like 14 points, and I was super excited. Like, we got 14, y'all.
All quick too.
I know. I was like, we looking good pretty early. Somehow it switched up in 2 weeks after firing Matt Canada. But like at the end of the day, it's going to take a whole offseason to redo and reshuffle our thinking on offense. You just feel like we're looking too old school on offense. Thinking wise, our line hasn't been good enough. Najee hasn't been good enough. You can just go on the blame list all the way down from the board. I know, okay, I keep saying the defense, JV. I still believe in our defense. I feel like we still got a lot of weapons that people like, and that our defense has shown sparks in certain points of the season. But
it's just too tight.
Exactly. So I just feel like that at some point, the dam is going to break, and our dam has pretty much been broken the last few weeks. And do I want my team to kind of lose his under 500 record? Not really.
It's too late for that.
But at the same
too many
time,
wins.
No, we're 7-7, so we have what? I think we have 3 games left, so we can still lose.
But I know, but my point is that you've already won 7 games. The point of tanking is to have.
I'm not tanking. I'm talking about his all-time record. Not being under 500 the whole time coaching.
I got you.
People always bring that up of being level consistency for a guy, but at the end of the day, as a real Steelers fan, you talk to real Steelers fans. He's been 40-year-old Steelers fan. I'm talking about OG Steelers fans. They'll tell you we don't give a damn. We don't exactly. We don't give a damn. Excuse my language, whatever. We don't give a damn about 500 record. We need to be sniffing the playoffs. We need to, we need to begin not in the playoffs. We need to step in a run in the playoffs and going deep in the playoffs. That's what I'm used to as the whole time as a kid, and we haven't done that for about 6, 7, 8 years now, or 9 years now. It's really the Big Ben kind of screwed us. I love Big Ben kind of screwed us at the end. Wait a little too long to head out there, and then the funniest thing is every Pittsburgh Steelers fan watches his podcast, which I be overseeing his clips and watch his podcast too. And my God, I love you, but man, he's talking about like, oh, there's no leadership or anything like that. I'm like, you should have. My God, you could have passed that down. You're the one who was holding us back from drafting somebody and grooming someone like Aaron Rodgers did for Jordan Love in a sense. He didn't really help groom anybody, or was kind of always kind of scared to let someone in the door, which I guess you could be competitive advantage or whatever. But if you really cared about our Steelers culture, like you're trying to say here, you could have helped the next regime instill that to our offensive guys. Because right now, no, he wasn't. So
no, because Ben's insecure.
Pretty much. I love my guy, but he has a couple of flaws.
I'll say it for you.
He has a couple of flaws that really hurts at the end, which now making like Mike T look bad when realistically it's kind of Big Ben's fault where there's no leadership on the offensive side to take someone, and shake things up. We're not doing the things we're used to on offense. So at the end of the day, our defense can do so much. So just can't. I'm looking forward to off season. Hopefully we don't even make the playoffs. Because if we make the playoffs, and it's gonna happen like we did that one year. We're gonna get smacked like we did by the Chiefs. It's just gonna be no point extra week of us traveling, to be also honest. So I'm probably rocking with my guy Keith right now, saying, hey, it's over. Let's start over. Let's get some things going. Let's get the plan going for next year, because right now it's looking bad. Something. Anything. I feel like we would. I'd be down, but I know we're not drastic like that, guys. Stop joking. We're not drastic, but we're gonna make big moves in terms of we always been loyalty first, especially to our coaches and our. To be honest with you, one bad thing too when we always not drafted pit guys because we feel like we see them in the building. They always stay loyal to them a little too long. The guys who don't work out. So that's also I feel like a sense I'm like we're going to be a little bit more keeping Kenny on the board because Kenny came from Pitt.
I know, but wasn't James Conner from Pitt too? And that worked out pretty well.
That's what I'm saying. That's the guy we let go. You know what I'm saying? And we should have kept him.
Got the wrong Pitt.
Exactly. So, but majority of the time, we keep the Pitt guys a little longer than we should if they're not even not working out. So hopefully, we don't do that with Kenny.
You let go of the one that actually worked.
Who? It don't matter. We're going to see. You need to regroup and retool for next year.
Well, Jaevon, the final game from Saturday's triple header was the Lions taking care of the Broncos 42-17. And earlier in the season, that would not have been a significant score or game. But the Broncos, they've been riding. So, what's going on after this one?
I know we didn't have a podcast on, Friday. The Lions would have definitely been on the hotline. -5 was free money, as we all saw. Jared Goff, I believe, his numbers when he's not indoors versus when he's indoors are he looks like freaking damn when he's indoors. So Sam Laporta is a guy that I believe he was drafted 20th overall. He's looking like one of the best tight ends in the league.
It's making me feel stupid for drafting Travis Kelce in the first round.
Very early. And there has been a lot of,
might be a Pro Bowler.
People.
He will be.
I think his numbers probably, reflect that he'll probably be in the Pro Bowl. But as far as, the Lions just as a whole, Dan Campbell probably is going to win Coach of the Year just based off of how I think there was a stat since when the Lions started. I think they 1930 something. They've only won the division 9 times. So I don't remember the last time the Lions won their division. I think it was since 1993.
Yep,
93 was the last time.
Not one time when Megatron was there, they won the division.
No, they go a wild card.
Megatron, Caldwell, the coach, didn't win the division. So
that's what happens when you got Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers in your division.
Yeah, it's tough. So I think the Lions, Dan Campbell, great story, great season. We saw Sean Payton on the sidelines lighting up Russell Wilson. I don't know what it was about, but I think this is just things that are starting to boil over on just what Sean Payton wants from him and what he believes Russell Wilson is capable of and what he's not able to execute on the field. So they've probably been button heads. I don't know if they're the best of friends, but it's hard for them to kind of be able to get along and make this marriage kind of work. It's kind of was an arranged marriage. Because obviously Sean Payton didn't pick Russell Wilson. He was already there when he got there. So I don't know where the Broncos head from here because they were kind of, they had some weird spots, on the road in Houston losing, kind of going to Detroit. Or they beat, the Chargers last week, but yeah, anybody can beat the Chargers right now. So for them to lose this game in Detroit, it's kind of a reality check. Are they good enough to make the playoffs? Not too sure. I think there are a few better teams than them, but they still might be able to kind of stumble their way into the playoffs just based off of how weak the AFC is currently. And usually they're, this is the gauntlet, but we've seen a bunch of injuries kind of happen in the AFC. So don't really know where the Broncos head from here, but Detroit's trying to get back on track. And I feel like if they keep winning out, they'll probably lock up 3 seed.
Yeah, and Kevin, we mentioned earlier just how crowded that AFC wildcard picture is. And one of the teams that could be competing in that AFC wildcard picture is the Texans, depending on what happens in the AFC South. And the Texans yesterday were able to avoid what a lot of people would deem as a trap game, playing in Tennessee against the Titans without their starting quarterback. What's his name?
Coleridge Bernard.
Pretty good. And that guy's pretty good. And so anyways, the Texans get a win 19-16 against the Titans in overtime. And so just what was that like from your perspective?
Last year, Toddy and I had a bet, Davis Mills versus Trey Lance. Unfortunately, Trey
Seems
Lance
like eons ago.
Hey, Toddy, I avenged that bet for you today.
So, coming in, I was like, all right, Davis Mills, we said, run the show. You see what he can do. But no, we saw Houston Chase Keenum come to life. 23 of 36 for 229 yards. And he was able to do his thing. And David said Devin Singletary has really taken over this backfield from Damon Pierce. For him to go for 121 yards, 5 yards per carry. And then the Ohio State Noah Brown coming in for 8 for 92, 10 yards per carry with a touchdown. The Titans, like I told Toddy last week, over the last couple of weeks, I think we were a little too early on the Will Levis show. It's been kind of going up and down.
Let him bake. I'll let him bake.
But for the Titans to go up there and Derrick Henry to have 16 carries and 9 rush yards, not good at all. Will Levis went down, unfortunately. So the Titans are kind of in the uproar right now. We talk about the AFC South, and they really are at the bottom. And coming into this, you would have thought they were coming at the top. But the another thing that I want to mention, if the Texans do win the division, that means Coleridge Bernard is a top what quarterback in the NFL, Toddy?
It's a top 10, right?
Yes, sir.
No. Top 8.
Top 8.
Top 8.
So, I mean,
had some help by his teammates. He didn't play. But I feel like if he would have played,
if they would have played, he would have won. But to get him back out there healthy, we're really looking forward to Coleridge, going back out doing this thing. But for them to hold it down for him, Tank Dell went down, CJ Stroud went down, Damian Pierce been in and out of the lineup, and this team, I come in and week out. This team is led by an ex-Texan, and he's going to come out there and make sure that week in and week out that they're going to come out there and play hard and show, because at the beginning of the season, no one would have thought that the Texans would have 8 wins. So they're out there doing their thing.
Those factor caps come back to bite you. They come back to bite you just throughout the whole entire season. We always refer back. I think it's so cool how we always go back to it. Didn't you say? You remember that, right?
I should have brought the notepad with me to this. I was just too focused on the jerseys. I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget Kevin's jersey.
Yeah.
And so, Gary, a lot of this season, you've mentioned Tyreek Hill as your MVP candidate. We kind of went back and forth on that earlier, but Tyreek Hill doesn't play yesterday, and the Dolphins
dropped to like 6.5. It was at like 10 before you came. They were like Tyreek Hill's not playing, the line dropped like 4 points, and that's never happened for a non-quarterback. It's insane.
Yeah, and so obviously Tyreek Hill has a huge impact on the game, but the Dolphins were still able to get a 30-0 win against the Jets. And Zach Wilson did start in this game, but he got concussed, so he came out. We saw a Trevor Siemian appearance. And even on First Take in front of us about 20 minutes ago, they were debating if Aaron Rodgers should come back if he's actually medically cleared for a team that's like 4-8. And so anyways, Gary, just what did you think about this game? Was it just the Dolphins handling business after not doing so this past Monday, or was it just kind of the Jets crumbling?
I think it was a nail in the coffin. 2 coffins, the Jets coffin and Aaron Rodgers end of the season coffin right there. I feel like for him,
It's his fault.
to be honest, not his fault. It's his fault. But in terms of him trying to come back, like you mentioned, Shaun, I feel like that's put to bed. I don't feel like he should be going out there for pretty much no reason. And I don't think he would even want to go out there for no reason. I think he's been mentioning it on Pat McAfee show the whole time that basically he's only going to play if they have an opportunity. And he kept trying to, basically in a way, he kept saying, if we have opportunity for opportunity. But he knows in his heart of hearts they weren't going to have his opportunity. He wanted to pray for a couple of weeks when Zach and them were stringing some wins together when he first went down. And they had a couple little spark again last week. But at the end of the day, they're too far down. And I think they might be almost mathematically eliminated now, too. So it's going to be pretty tough for them to even make noise. I think he should be looking forward to next year, and Jets fans should be looking forward to next year and how to, first of all, protect him, because you don't want to see him get injured again. If we know anything from Brady that we learned to make himself last, I think he mentioned too, he did not get hit those last 4 or 5 years. Barely got touched. And if he was going down quick like a sack of tails. Like, I'm down. I'm down.
Exactly.
No hits on me or nothing. So Aaron Rodgers has always been used to, staying in the pocket for a long time, making those plays for his legs. And he might not be able to do that as much, obviously, because of his age and obviously, his what happened to him with his injury. So I feel like he's going to be really relied upon to stay in that pocket like he's always has, and to really throw some, big-time targets and make this team look really good next year, which they can. Like we've seen their defense, man. They shut a lot of teams out this year, and they play really good on defense. So if they keep the defense intact and they can really help the offensive line, I feel like the young receivers are obviously shown what the quarterback carousel they basically got, that they still have something if they have a Hall of Famer to come walking in like Aaron Rodgers. So I feel like the Jets still could make some noise next year. I feel like Aaron Rodgers should just take it on the chin of him not playing this year. Everyone, if him even walking around the facility and things of that nature have already gave people hope. And I feel like he's already proven a lot. Do you know what I'm saying? Of what he's already done with his rehabilitation process. I feel like he's been trying to basically show a new wave. Like, hey, something wanted to motivate him to do this. So obviously he wanted to prove that he still can. Someone of this age can do something this great. So I feel like he already checked that box. And he don't have to step on the field to prove that to anyone. So I feel like from the Jets' perspective, they should just call it a day and look forward to next year. And and Miami, we don't got to talk Miami. Like I feel like you said, it was handling business. And Tyler, like you just mentioned right now, Von, 4 points right there. Yeah, I know they still won the game, and Mostert did great. The team looked great without him, but still, I think everyone on that team would say that to play our best and to be at our best, we need Tyreek Hill hitting on all cylinders and be the head of the snake. So I feel like that he got to get healthy, and if they want to make a playoff run, this is the time for them to buckle up and get ready right now because it's coming around the corner. So a lot of people have been saying they're more finessed, and if you run from tough them, they're not going to be able to win games. So that's probably one dynamic. A lot of people compare them to you guys because a lot of the same coaching, a lot of the same schemes and things of that nature in terms of Niners. One thing they don't got, I feel like they don't got that toughness that everyone sees in the Niners. So I feel like they're going to develop that and prove that on the biggest stage. So that's the biggest questions for them, but they handle business though this week.
Well, my quick take about Aaron Rodgers is I just think that he did all of this just to be able to claim that he came back the fastest of anyone with an Achilles injury. As you mentioned with the Tom Brady comparison, it's like he's not going to actually put himself out there so he can claim it without really having the risk out there. But, Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers. And so, Jaevon, it's become a recurring joke here on the podcast to say Baker Mayfield. As we alluded to earlier, but the Buccaneers, they went into Lambeau and defeated the Packers 34-20 yesterday. And so was a similar question, but was this more so about the Packers not getting the dub or the Buccaneers proving that they could be the best team in the NFC South?
That Packers money line.
So we already know how you feel.
That Packers money line. It's Baker, man. I can't really put a nail on what it is that he is because they're so up and down. Going back to the factor cap that we had about Mike Evans, is he still going to be able to be 1,000-yard type of receiver throughout the year? And I think that he's obviously proven that statistically already. So is Baker going to come back next year? Or are they just going to ride this thing back? I mean, they probably are going to make the playoffs. How good is this team with Baker Mayfield? I'm not sure. But you don't have to be, 14-2 to win this division. I mean, we're looking at it right now. I think the Bucs they're what, 500.
Mm-hmm.
So currently right now it's just like, this Bucs team kind of believes, they're pivoted from Tom Brady. A lot of people were saying they were going to be, they were going to be in the Caleb Drake May sweepstakes, but Baker coming in kind of turned that narrative around, and this team going into Lambeau, winning a huge game on the road because I believe they were talking with the Saints. So this game was pretty much all games in that division matter, even to the Falcons.
Yeah, they were talking with the Falcons too, but that doesn't really matter now.
But it's kind of like a two-headed race in the NFC South, and I feel like the Bucs are probably going to be the team that ends up prevailing because right now, Baker's probably the best quarterback in that division. Just
it's not saying much
by default because Derek Carr is dog shit. Bryce Young.
Hey, but the Saints won.
They won. They won against Tommy DeVito. Bryce Young, who Kev picked to win the division.
We're going to get to that in just a moment.
But I just think, just by default, it is probably going to be the Bucs. Baker's probably the best quarterback. As far as the Packers go, I just totally shit the bed 2 weeks in a row now. It might not be all of Jordan Love's fault because I felt like last week he put his team in position to win. This week, at home, against the Bucs, pretty even team, I'd say, both of those two. Fighting for playoff position as they kind of still are, even with a losing record. But I don't know, man. You just gotta let Jordan Love big. I really still don't know what he is because he's so erratic and so inconsistent. Albeit this is his first year starting games, so you gotta let him bake. I feel like he has a lot of arm talent there. If you kind of watch just by the eye test, it feels like he's an NFL quarterback. But some of the decisions that he makes are god awful. And you're like, what are you looking at? But you got to just put it in perspective that this is his first year starting. So, Bucs are Baker Mayfield, man. He's might make the playoffs. I think Baker's going to make the playoffs again. And he's going to have that on his resume. When he was with the Browns and beat the old Steelers, does have a playoff victory under his belt. This Bucs team is probably the most surprising team in the NFL, I feel like, for most people.
Yeah, and maybe Progressive is going to come a-calling again for Baker Mayfield after.
Baker's going to be like, the price would up.
Right, exactly. He's like, I missed out on the last 2 years of commercial salary. Where have you guys been?
Yeah.
Mistake. You should not do that. It was not looking good when you did that.
True.
No.
Well, Kevin, Jaevon just alluded to the team that you picked to win the NFC South. And, maybe after Sunday, even though they're mathematically eliminated, they could be feeling good for 2024 as the Panthers, they beat the Falcons 9-7. And that was a baseball score right there. That's a high-scoring baseball game.
Cakewalk.
Well, like Tony mentioned, if you lose to a team that can't even score a touchdown, it's rough. We've seen the Falcons kind of be on this up and down trajectory all season. Like I mentioned, I feel like they're another team like the Vikings that are just a quarterback away. Desmond Ridder is just showing that that Cincinnati run and then him getting the playoffs really trajected him to be an NFL quarterback. And I feel like the committee really set him up because they're the reason he's an NFL quarterback. He led Cincinnati to the playoffs, but you got to get Bijan more active for him to have only 11 rushing yards. It's been an up and down season for Bijan. We really thought that he was going to come in and take the offensive rookie of the year and run with it. Everyone would. You would tell the bet. And I don't know if Todd knows off the top of his head, but everyone would have put all the money on Bijan because they thought he was going to be that guy. But for me to have to wake up and ask myself the question is Sam Laporta what we thought Kyle Pitts was going to be?
Yeah.
Go back to the group chat when we were talking about
that's a good
Kyle
question.
Pitts and who was it? Dallas Goedert?
Dallas Goedert.
Of course it was Dallas Goedert.
It's just really sad to see that the Falcons had all this potential and now they're 6-8. You're having the questions: are they going to get another quarterback? Are they just going to continue to go over and over? Is Arthur Smith going to get fired? He's really hasn't been able to bounce back from losing 28-3 to Tom Brady. So it's going to be interesting to see where this Falcons team go. But the Panthers are trying to win as many games as they can because as everyone knows the Bears have their pick. So whatever they can do to win and then drop them down, they will do. But Bryce Young we talked earlier another factor is who had the better situation, that Anthony Richardson or C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, and we all kind of thought that they had the coaching staff, they had Frank Wright, they had the quarterback coach, they brought in the skill position coaches, and
they got
3 weeks into the season, they're trying to get a number one wide receiver when we traded the number one wide receiver. So there's a lot of things to be questioned over there in Carolina, but on the Atlanta side of the things, it's going to look ugly for a while.
So I need to put in my application to the Justin Fields fan club.
Oh,
Signing my name.
welcome.
I'm trying to sign my name. Where do I sign up?
We have an exile sitting to your right.
Kevin returned his badge and Parking Pass resigned. I would like to sign up and buy a little bit of Justin Fields stock here to the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, guess what?
I feel like
You're automatically vice president. Well,
I feel like there is a little bit of smoke there. I know you guys are probably going to clip me and get in the comments and say he's calling him a running back. Just
not anymore.
He's let me down so many times in fantasy. So whenever I start,
but you have Brock Purdy.
Exactly, Brock Purdy. So
now you don't hate him.
We don't lose sleep. But I mean, I'd like to sign up and join the membership, the coalition. I'd like to join. And I feel like him in Atlanta would be fireworks. This is kind of going back to my oven.
Mm-hmm.
He's still baking.
Sure is.
He's went through several coaching staffs already.
Doesn't have an
offensive coach. I get he does have DJ Moore there, but I feel like Chicago is trending in a different direction. Ryan Bowles is one of those guys saying that, hey, this is an arranged marriage. You're not my guy. So not saying you'll be able to get a first round pick for him, but probably a third, maybe a fourth. He goes to a new situation in Atlanta, who Kevin has already mentioned as a team that's a quarterback away. I've kind of went back and forth with Cash out there with Cass. Another team was the Saints that he mentioned, and I was like, I would like to see him in the same division, just a different team, and that was Atlanta. So I feel like if you pair him,
sorry, you mentioned Cass, I had to put it back on the screen.
If you pair him with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Arthur Smith, who's supposed to be an offensive mind,
supposedly,
why not? Have this Falcons team be able to be the team to beat in NFC South for the foreseeable future. But just going back to the game itself, and 9-7 is atrocious. I feel like Desmond Ridder had a terrible pick in the red zone that kind of ended up sealing the game. Not sealing the game, but it was a game-changing interception that happened in the red zone. If they get at least points off of that drive, a field goal doesn't hurt them, and they still end up winning the game probably. But definitely want to, Kevin, you can clip this. I need to get Shaun. He said he's anointed me as vice president. Where do I sign my name on the dotted line with Justin Fields?
I'll get the contract
or organization.
Kevin ripped it up, stepped on it.
I'm signing up, but I feel like I gotta
get in your side.
Yeah, I'm signing up now, and I feel like kind of going into the new year next year, he'll probably a lot of people will get a lot of signups. I think so. So I don't think he'll be in Chicago. I think he'll be gone. But
that's a wise decision.
Yeah, I'm signing up now.
Well, apparently Desmond Ridder said that he's not leaving Atlanta until he wins the Super Bowl. I saw someone on Twitter said the closest that you can get is if you can DoorDash me my wings on Super Bowl Sunday. I said that's the closest you're gonna get. And I like the Justin Fields to Atlanta proposal. Here's another one. We joke all the time about T. Higgins. T. Higgins to Carolina as Bryce Young's number one wide receiver. We keep talking about Carolina needing a wide receiver one.
T. Higgins, draft Marvin Harris Jr.
Oh,
there you go. We're back.
If only Carolina still had their pick.
Yeah,
unfortunately, but they got Bryce Young now.
Well, they don't have their pick, but I feel like
you get T. Higgins for a second.
Yeah,
I want T. Higgins to go to the Texans.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. And Tank Dell's out for the season now, right? Yeah. And then, but I mean, they still got Nico Collins, who's solid. That's another good option. And so, Gary, the last NFC South team that we have to talk about here, and we've alluded to this game, is the Saints beating Tommy DeVito and the Giants 24-6. Tommy got smacked in this game and had all of the Italians in the world worried about him. But the Saints, they are right there in the thick of things with the Buccaneers for the NFC South.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I only watched this again. This is a shit show. I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, I feel like none of these teams are really making noise. I know the Saints. I feel like obviously, I know Saints are in. Yeah, that's what Derek Carr gives that team a little faith because he's actually a QB with some veteran experience and can maybe take the reins at the end of this year. But I also feel like the way Baker Mayfield's playing, it's gonna be pretty tough to also take that from him too. So I feel like it's the battle of the worst in that division right now. And literally, they're not going to – none of those teams are going to make noise in the playoffs. None of these teams are going to make noise in the playoffs. I don't really feel like they're going to be too big.